There are places on Earth that were once full of life, but are now completely silent. Massive cities where no one lives, towns swallowed by the desert, and giant wrecks at the bottom of the ocean. Today, using Google Earth, we are flying to those eerie ghost towns visible on the map, but abandoned by humans. Buckle up. This tour is going to be quiet. We begin our list at number 10, on the shores of the Mediterranean. Look at this place. This is Varosha in Famagusta. In the 1970s, this was one of the world's premier luxury holiday destinations. Stars like Elizabeth Taylor used to sunbathe on these beaches. But after the war, in 1974, the area was declared a military forbidden zone and fenced off. People left their homes, their cars, everything, and fled. Looking from Google Earth, you can see how those luxury hotels were left to rot and how nature is reclaiming the city. This is a place where time has truly stopped. For number 9, we head to Africa, deep into the Namib Desert. This is Kolmanskop. In the early 1900s, there were so many diamonds here that people could pick them off the ground even by moonlight. Thanks to this wealth, they built a luxury German town in the middle of the desert, complete with a hospital, a theater, and even an ice factory. But when the diamonds ran out, the people left too. The last person abandoned this place in the 1950s. Now, looking from Google Earth, you can see how the desert has swallowed the town. Sand dunes have broken through doors and filled the houses. It's a very surreal sight. At number 8, we go to a very different dimension of abandonment, China. This is Ordos, Kangbashi. At first glance, it looks like a normal modern metropolis, right? Massive skyscrapers, wide avenues, stadiums, museums. But look closely. There are no cars on the streets, no people in the squares. This place was built for 1 million people, but almost no one moved in. It is the modern world's largest ghost city. It's truly eerie to see such a huge and modern place looking so desolate on Google Earth. Number 7 takes us to southern Italy, to the top of a hill. This is the town of Craco, which looks like it jumped straight out of a movie set. With a history dating back over 1,000 years, this medieval town seemed cursed. Constant landslides, earthquakes, and droughts. Finally, in the 1960s, the landslides became so dangerous that the last remaining residents were forced to evacuate. Now, on this hill, there is only the sound of the wind and these magnificent stone ruins. Looking from Google Earth, it feels like watching the remains of a civilization that succumbed to nature. At number 6, we approach a strange structure floating in the middle of the sea. Hashima Island, also called Battleship Island because it resembles a warship from a distance. This place was once packed with workers and their families who worked in the undersea coal mines. At one point, it had a higher population density than Tokyo. But when petroleum replaced coal, the mine was closed and everyone abandoned the island in 1974. Today, it is a desolate concrete jungle rotting in the middle of the ocean. If you've seen the James Bond movie Skyfall, you might remember this place as the villain's lair. We fly to the USA, to Pennsylvania. Number 5, Centralia. This is the real town that inspired the horror movie Silent Hill. The story is incredible. In 1962, a fire started in the town dump, but this fire spread to the coal veins underneath the ground, and it has been burning continuously for 60 years since that day. When toxic smoke started rising from the ground and roads began to crack, the government evacuated the town. On Google Earth, you can clearly see the abandoned main road, known as the Graffiti Highway, covered in cracks. At number 4, we are in South Korea. Few things are creepier than an abandoned amusement park. This is Okpo land. This place was very popular in the 90s. However, a series of fatal accidents, especially on the famous duck train, followed by an economic crisis, brought the end of the park. It closed suddenly one night in 1999, and everything was left as it was. Looking from Google Earth, you can feel the silence and see the rides left to rust on the hillside. Rust and fear have replaced the fun. Now bundle up, because for number 3, we are going to the freezing cold of Siberia, to Kadykchan. This was a typical city built for coal mining during the Soviet Union era. Thousands of people lived here. But after the collapse of the Soviet Union and an explosion in the mine, the state decided it was too expensive to keep this place running. People were given a very short time to leave. The city emptied out in an instant. All these orderly buildings you see on Google Earth are empty. This place is like a frozen monument to the Cold War. For number 2, we dive into the depths of the ocean to go to the world's most famous abandoned place. Yes, on Google Earth, you can see not just the land, but also the ocean floor. This spot in the middle of the North Atlantic is where the RMS Titanic rests. In 1912, the ship called Unsinkable hit an iceberg and was buried about 3,800 meters deep. This is not just a wreck, but also the grave of over 1,500 people. Thanks to technology, we can mark the location of this tragedy even from space. And number 1, the first place that comes to mind when you think of abandonment: Pripyat, the Chernobyl disaster zone. When the nuclear reactor exploded in 1986, 50,000 people lived in this modern city. They were all told to pack their things and leave in just a few hours. They thought they would return, but they never could. As on Google Earth, you can see that iconic yellow Ferris wheel that was never used, and the streets turned into a ghost town by radiation. This place is a frozen time capsule of one of the biggest disasters humanity has ever created. We have seen 10 incredible places that were once full of life, but are now surrendered to silence and nature. Now, the question is for you. Which one of these abandoned places did you find the creepiest or most interesting? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and see you on our next exploration.